Hello and welcome. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Lembke, the Chief Talent Navigator and Transforming Talent, and your captain of the Amaze 2022 Transformation Passport. And I am so excited to be joined here together today with the wonderful Vince Pitre, psychotherapist extraordinaire. And we're going to be talking through today the important subject of vitality, viability, vulnerability, and what it means to go into those crosswaters, and why the juxtaposition of these three is so important as we look to not only how are we surviving or getting through or coping with everything that's coming at us, but actually how are we going into that courageous, brave space to say, how are we living our lives and taking that responsibility, accountability to look to ourselves, that we take care of this human, because this is actually the source of those strengths and helps us with that velocity aspect of how long can we sustain it. So excited to have Vince taking us through an experience, and I'm so excited to have the wonderful Cordelia Gaffar, Michelle Minikin, and Gary Turner here, all three very well versed in this wonderful, uncomfortable space of vulnerability and seeing the power of that within. So with that, Vince, I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Elizabeth, for asking me to do this. It's amazing already, because the moment you asked me to do this, I said yes, of course, and it immediately started a process for me of really reconnecting with, jumping into exploring the topic of vulnerability. And, as it has been for all of us, it's been a tough 3 years, and with the pandemic, and of course, life's happening in all kinds of other ways. For me, I lost 4 family members in the last 3 years, including my father. And so, I think it's been such a gift that you asked me to do this, because I've really been examining for myself, what does vulnerability mean to me? And then how does it enhance or influence my vitality, which I think of as self-care. And then viability, which I think of as like skill development, like what kinds of skills do I want to bring to the world? So, and with everything going on, what's really cool about this is that I felt extremely vulnerable. Yeah. As I was going through my own process to prepare for this, I was like, wow, what's going on here? Let me take a deep dive into this subject for myself, so that I can, be of greater service on this seminar. So I literally went from, so let me say this first. So I think of vulnerability in terms of like, what's underneath vulnerability. There's obviously an upside and a downside to it, because vulnerability, with everything else, has a polarity to it. And the downside, the negative polarity of vulnerability, in my view, is perceiving or feeling unwanted, perceiving or feeling not good enough, and perceiving or feeling like one doesn't matter. And so I went through that. As I was kind of examining the fear, I was like, oh, I don't know these people. They're extremely well accomplished, from what I hear and what I can see, and I'm not doing too bad myself. But irregardless of that, it's like, oh my God, what if they don't want me? What if they meet me and they think, oh, I don't want that guy, or what if they think I'm not good enough, or what if they think that I don't matter? And to put my attention on that is terrifying, It's terrifying. And it's what people essentially do when they're in a lot of fear. That's what, from my exploration, that's what's underneath the fear. So then I did with what I what I am quite good at is meditation. So I took it into meditation, and then I examined all of that, and I felt that. And on the other side of that is, the upside, the positive polarity of vulnerability, which I think Elizabeth calls it courage, and I would agree it's a good word for it, is I'm wanted, I'm good enough. And in my view, even more importantly, let's drop the good enough. I'm good, period, over and out. I'm just fundamentally a good human being, right? And then, of course, I matter. So what was the most profound part of this is when I was in the positive part of vulnerability, I could literally feel all of those things. I felt wanted. I know I'm good. I know that I matter. And it was a profound experience. I mean, something that I would liken to as maybe like a Kundalini experience. I had a lot of energy moving. And so thank you for that gift. I mean, I wasn't expecting quite that, but nonetheless, thank you. So
thank you.
In any event, did you want to say something?
No, I was saying thank you, Vince. And I think, just taking through of those things, I mean, I went through all of those motions before pressing start on today's call. So I think it is so true of those three aspects of vulnerability. We play through them around of what are we putting out there. So seeing ourselves in a healthy light of saying, yeah, I'm good. Those are things that we can say cognitively, but feeling them emotionally and getting through and working through that, it truly is that space of vulnerability. So I'm truly honored that you're here, and thank you so much for sharing that aspect, and particularly as we go through these crazy emotional journeys of the relationships that we have, the relationships that we've lost, and how we continue to look to say, okay, how am I leading that honorable life that where I can be consistent and halfway congruent.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And along with that, it's like, some of the questions that I've been asking is, how do we use fear or a sense of vulnerability, the negative polarity of vulnerability? How do we use that as a bridge to courage? How do we use it as a bridge to redefining who we are on the other side of that, being wanted, we're good, and we matter, over and out, and really rewired to that? Because so much of life and so much of what's been going on, it's tempting to go into old patterns. So again, thank you so much. It's like getting reacquainted with courage, getting reacquainted with all of the different times in our lives that we succeeded in overriding fear, and really, I guess, literally embracing love and embracing possibility and embracing, who we are, that's way beyond who we thought we were, and go to greater heights with that. So as you can see on the slide here, I just basically kind of crafted out the process that I went through. And again, the skill development I think of as the viability part of this, and the self-care being the vitality part of this. So in any event, we've planned some really cool exercises and meditations for you for your discovery. And I just want to remind everybody, although I probably don't need to belabor this, I mean, obviously all of you are unique. You'll be able to relate more or less to the experiences. There's, of course, no right or wrong. And I encourage you just to explore it, lean into it, and really enjoy it, because there's some really powerful potential here for your experience, learning, feeling, hearing, sensing, and maybe you experience one or more senses, or maybe you experience this in a very unique way for you. So anyway, there's a lot to cover in this 55 minutes. So we're going to launch right into it. And I thought what we would do is do a demonstration with Elizabeth, which is going to be super fun. And of course, my encouragement to you is to just get some bystander benefits and go along for the ride in your own way. And then I'll do something with you that'll be very similar, except that it'll be more direct for you. So we'll be warming up the mechanism, so to speak, for that for you. And then at the end, we'll make some time for a share and some insights and takeaways and that sort of thing. So anyway, thanks all of you for being here. It's super honor. And again, thanks, Elizabeth. So, all right. So Elizabeth, let me know when you're ready.
I'm set to jet.
Okay. So Elizabeth, let me invite you to just gently close your eyes and start bringing your attention inwards. And as you know, I'm going to be asking you 3 magical questions to help you get acquainted with the upsides of vulnerability, which is empowerment. So, Elizabeth, when you know you're wanted, you could be a little bit like what?
Like a vibrant, warm firecracker.
Like a vibrant, warm firecracker. Very good. And as you put your attention on this warm, vibrant firecracker like this, how does that feel in your body?
It comes from the chest in terms of like breathing out, and it feels like, okay, I'm taking the space and I'm having fun. It feels like there's movement through, and it feels damn good.
Nice. And when you know you're good, you could be a little bit like what?
I'm gonna feel a moment like a Queen song, like We Are the Champions, or like AC/DC Back in Black. There's just this feeling of like, yeah. And so when I know I'm good, it's just like there's the force on impact is a positive force on impact, and it goes through your bones and makes you want to rock out. And so for me, that's that feeling of when I'm feeling like, okay, that hit in such a good way. It's like Queen, or more likely AC/DC Back in Black.
Awesome. And where could you be feeling that or having a sense of that in your body?
For me, it's all up the upper chest and through my mouth in terms of a smile. And I feel like my cheeks, the upper muscles of my cheeks are grinning. That's for me that piece to know I'm in it in such a good way.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Elizabeth, one more.
Okay.
Yeah. When you know you matter, you could be a little bit like what?
When I know I matter, I feel I could be a little bit like, this will sound perhaps a little bit odd, but like that most cozy teddy bear that someone grabs onto and feels a safe space, and is that good confidant, but is always there. So for me, I have a lot of positive associations to a teddy bear, or in my case, it was a Snoopy bear, not a Snoopy bear.
Awesome. Now we'll just take a quick moment and just, your eyes open or closed. Just notice what relationships might be there between those symbols. Just notice how they play together, how they maybe combine.
All right. I'm seeing the Snoopy dog dance. So yeah, for me, that aspect of all of those joyful, the Snoopy dog dance is bringing it to play.
Very good. And I'm really curious where Snoopy dog dancing might like to show up in all of the areas of your life where it's going to make a big difference.
I think the Snoopy dog dancing in terms of going into brave spaces that I haven't been before, for trying things that bringing that unique voice and just kind of dancing through and dancing in of, this is my mantra, and of just fuck it, just try it. That's for me, that Snoopy dog dance of, if not you, why not you?
Mm. Yeah. Very good and well done. Yeah.
Thank you, Vince.
Awesome. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, absolutely. Now I have my Snoopy dog dance to AC/DC going through my head.
Awesome. This morning I did a short workout with weighted skipping ropes, which is a badass workout. I encourage any of you to explore the possibility. But I had in the background the Eye of the Tiger on repeat. I was just cranking out and had an amazing workout. Yeah. So, and I love We Are the Champions is one of my all-time favorite songs. It's so incredibly empowering. Right?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. So at this time, I want to invite all of you to, should you choose to close your eyes and have your own experience even deeper. Yeah.
So welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much, Vince, for taking us through those 4 questions and that experience of really taking the opportunity to look inwards as to what does it feel, look, and how do we express it, and what are those symbols that we're bringing into the world. I want to, as we are a unique panel, take the discussion into how do we see, not ignoring that aspect of vulnerability, not putting ourselves away as our last responsibility, but seeing our strength is actually dealing with these at times challenging things we say to ourselves or perhaps don't say to ourselves. So I would love to go around. I love the way that you said it, Vince, popcorn, come in when you're hot, around how do you see the interplay of vitality, viability, and vulnerability as a courageous force for bringing oneself truly into what we're trying to accomplish in our world, through our relationships, through our impact, and through this opportunity that we have on this planet. So how do you see the interplay or the juxtaposition of vitality, viability, and vulnerability?
I feel like the vitality it's like a expression of self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And the more self-aware we are, the more we will nurture ourselves and know how to nurture ourselves. I like that, Vince brought up, he was speaking like all my love languages, because like I always talk about sleep, mm-hmm. It's like you must sleep, you must eat well, and just being aware of when your body does need sleep or rest, which are 2 separate things, and what foods your body requires and what movement your body requires. And once we're in that loving space with ourselves, it's natural and normal to be vulnerable with others. Mm-hmm. And we can connect on a more human level. Yeah. And we'll know like the boundary, like we don't have to tell the whole life story, kind of like Vince shared at the beginning, I lost 4 family members, right? That's very vulnerable. He didn't tell us like all the details, and that's unnecessary to share, right? And then now that we know where we can connect with others, on a human level, how can we support each other? That's the, you know, the viability, I would say. So
nice. Very well said, Cordelia. Thank you. Yeah.
Maybe I'll pop in while I'm fairly hot, Vince. So again, this spiral keeps popping up for me really, really powerfully. And there's something, so again, this is so non-linear, okay, which I think is a really important place to start, because we're still trying to exist, or we're exiting a worldview that is very linear. And we can see all the destruction and dysfunction that comes from that, not holding complexity, not holding connection as normal. So what I'm seeing actually is that there's this really beautiful interplay of almost, so this isn't linear, but they very much cross over, which is you need to believe you're viable. You need to believe you're worthy. And like, it's almost like if you feel that, then that opens up the opportunity to feel more vulnerable, because you know you're worth it. And then, of course, what comes then for me, the vitality part, is the expression. It's the exponential energy that we all are, but gets capped through the story of you're not good enough. Or so there's this really powerful interplay between the three. And I see vulnerability, I've always said it for a very long time, it's almost like a gateway to that exponential energy that we all have. And it's a case of how open do we allow that to become, right? And it's come up in this exercise today, because again, for me to wrap up, if I may, it's not polar, but there's something very much about, we are either embodying or we're showing up disembodied. And I think, again, that's what we see around the world, is a complete disembodiment, a complete suppression of what it means to be human. Hence and everything that follows that. So I think what you've created and co-created today actually is a really beautiful vessel. There's almost like a vessel of opportunity to experience what it feels like to get present, to slow down, to allow yourself to feel, maybe for the first time, right? And if you can't feel, you'll never be able to be vulnerable. So there's a lot in there for me, but I do see these three areas interplaying in a spiral, a really beautiful, almost like dance, because there's been a lot about dance and music today, but like there's a dance between the three. You need all three of them. And to not allow all three almost is part of the blockage, I think. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So I'm learning a lot about sort of living systems and how we are nested within all of this, and very different from how we've been brought up, raised, conditioned in society. And loads of my clients are feeling adrift and not grounded, and that they aren't in a safe space to be vulnerable, and like almost disconnected from what it means to be human. And so it's interesting, given that, you know, the state of the world and how disconnected we all are. So it's been a lovely, it's been I probably need to sleep on it and reflect. But yes, it's the interplay of those three things. I do need to do a bit more reflection. But yeah, I felt they mean different things in this context than what I thought before I came in.
Nice.
Thank you, Michelle.
Nice. Just something really quick. One of the things I've often thought about in terms of trauma, which, the truth is we've all gone through a collective trauma with the pandemic, and now what's going on in the Ukraine. And so the way I think of trauma is sort of abandoning the self. And when I say the self, I mean the true self. The you, the us that is confident, that's connected, that's curious, that's compassionate, that's calm, these types of qualities. And so when Gary was talking about disembodiment, that's what it reminded me, is that people kind of detached from the true self, and they're kind of living often living the dramas of the kind of the wound, the parts of themselves that have not integrated with the true self yet. So just quickly, the way I'm going to use this, I guess, this tool or this approach is I'm pretty aware when I'm in my true self and when I'm not. It's a feeling thing for me. And so I'm going to be investigating, kind of investigating these beliefs, if you will, and counteracting them with, and I would say this for all of us, we've succeeded 100% of the time to get through difficult situations. So, chances are we're going to continue doing that, to the extent that we still have time to do that. So anyway, this has been a great joy, and I will continue this deep dive into this subject as a result of this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Vince, and thank you. I mean, this group couldn't ask for a more wonderful, shining light examples of Tigger, Snoopy's, roller skating, love languages of health, energy, and value through vulnerability. And how do we move away from the disembodiment, see where do we have agency, what can we do about these things of, well, quite often it's outward focused of, what are my responsibilities to others? This is my role, I have to do it. But seeing that power is in that courage of how am I taking time to pause and stop and think, where am I? How am I doing on this? And really going into that vulnerable space is that own self-agency of I'm not beholden to this all happening to me. How do I stop and pause and see where are those areas and what can I do about it? And that is truly that going into the brave zone for oneself and not doing the conflict avoidance of, avoiding all of that inner talk, and that's so important. So not covering up by overactivity, but really truly taking that time to pause and think, how am I moving through these questions around what am I feeling? How am I good? Why do I matter? And then to saying, okay, and what are perhaps hindering? What is fostering? And taking that time to have those conversations for oneself. And then to Michelle's point, to one's team and one's organization, because this collective of how can we see that it can truly be different? And how are we the ones who can truly make that difference by coming together, by co-creating, by reimagining what is and putting it into a place of what could be? And this is why these three aspects, and particularly the fourth one, and velocity of how long can we sustain it, is so important for this Amaze transformation passport. Is every transformation has to start with us. And how do we have the brave space within ourselves to go into that our own vulnerability, because that really gives us the power to bring the energies that we're trying to carry forth around how do we see our why, how does it make a difference, and how are we connecting truly with the people that are around us and helping bring that unique magic sauce and unique awesome sauce that we all have and bring it to the table. Or like Vince said, how are we like popcorn and bringing it in when it's hot? So with that, thank you, everybody. I can't thank you enough for being part of this Amaze 2022 journey, and more to come. And with that, I'm stopping the recording.